And we want to move on to another aspect of this Trump transition, which got a lot of attention yesterday. I was on CNN International yesterday actually talking about it. So worldwide, they're talking about the Trump family connection. Clearly, Donald Trump's family members are going to play a bigger role in this administration than perhaps any family members have for quite some time. The First Lady, of course, always has a somewhat of a role. Hillary Clinton, of course, was assigned to health care. Michelle Obama has been so very involved in finding jobs for veterans. Laura Bush was involved in literacy, as was Barbara Bush before her, illiteracy. We don't know that much about what Melania Trump is going to be doing other than taking care of their son, still living up in New York with him until he finishes his school year and moves down to the White House. But in the meantime, there's no doubt that son Donald Jr., son Eric, and daughter Ivanka Trump, and son-in-law Jared Kushner are going to already playing a big role and are going to play a bigger role. We've learned that Ivanka Trump is going to be, in effect, the acting First Lady. She is going to take over the First Lady's office in the East Wing of the White House. They are renaming that wing, the office of the First Family, no longer the office of the First Lady. By the way, that's perfectly legitimate. They can do that. I'll get to my question in a second. Her husband, Jared Kushner, who clearly is the power behind the throne around Donald Trump, more so than Reince Priebus or Steve Bannon. It's just Jared Kushner. He's the guy that axed Chris Christie because Christie once put his father in jail. A little Soprano revenge here. Lucky he didn't get a horse head in his
seriously,
in his bed, or maybe he did.
We don't know.
We don't know. The Godfather there. And Kushner is going to have an office. East Wing's not enough for him. He's going to have an office in the West Wing, right down the hall from the Oval Office, where he's going to be close advisor to the president. And then there are the two sons, who remember that just earlier this week when President-elect Trump met with the leaders of our tech industry, they were sitting at the table, not only Ivanka, but Donald Jr. and Eric. And what role are they going to play in the administration is the question. And then Donald Trump said at one point, well, they're going to run my company. Well, that's the problem. That's the problem. First of all, if they're running his company, how much of a firewall is that? Could it possibly be? You don't think the sons are going to be talking to their daddy about business deals, about whether or not they ought to expand in the Philippines or move into, I don't know, you name it, build another hotel in Paris or build another one in London or build another one in India where they already have twin towers? Right. Of course they are. So can you really build a firewall between you and your sons? And why doesn't Donald Trump just divest all of his businesses the way the Wall Street Journal said is the only way to go? But clearly, don't you think, if they are going to be running his business, then they've got to stop mucking up and playing a role in the politics. Because we also learned this week that Donald Trump Jr. is the one who discovered, who interviewed, who vetted, and who basically named Ryan Zinke, the congressman from Montana, as the next Interior Secretary. Because he heard Donald Jr. is a big hunter. He's hunted out in Montana. He's met this guy, and he thought, here's the guy that we need for the job. And then again, they're sitting at that table in that tech meeting. So there's all kinds of things. The lines are really, really blurred here. And of course, yesterday was the day that Donald Trump was going to have the big news conference and explain how he was going to keep things separate. And he, in fact, did not. He postponed it. It's going to happen sometime in January because they haven't figured it out yet. So meanwhile, we got family involved in the business and in the governance. It is really messy. It's another clear conflict. But, of course, the Trump campaign denies it. Sean Spicer, who will be the next press secretary in the White House, now communications director for the RNC and for the Trump transition team, says, hey, we've been very, very clear about this.
He has been very clear about what he owns, the role of his family, and everything else since he announced that he was running for president. And they overwhelmingly elected him with all of that on the table. So I understand a desire by some on the left and, frankly, some in the media to want to comb through certain documents that he has. But the American people are clearly satisfied with what they got, not only on Election Day, but since he's been elected, his approval rating's gone up like 20-some-odd points.
That's not true.
That is so BS.
That's not true.
No.
That's just a lie. We should call that what it is. That is a lie. Every president, the last 3 presidents have seen double-digit raises in their approval rating, okay? Every one of them. George W. Bush's was a little bit lower than Bill Clinton or Barack Obama's. Bill Clinton went up something like 52%. George W. Bush went up like 38%, or rose to 38%. Barack Obama went up even higher than that. Donald Trump, 0. Hasn't moved. Has not moved.
Right.
That's just a lie.
Yeah. And it's also a lie that they've been very, very clear and released everything. Where are the tax returns? Where are the business records? We don't know, again, how many countries he's got deals in, how many countries he's got properties in, how many countries he owes money to, how many banks he owes money to. We don't know any of this. So they haven't been clear at all. And again, we don't know today what role they're going to play.